Shalom. I want to give all praises, honors, and glories to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahushua Ba'Shem HaKakodash, and double honors to the apostles and others of Great Millstone, and salutations to the hopeful elect. This is your brother, I'm Noble Allah from Jim, Chicago, and what we all have seen on the news today, or everybody is speaking about it, and, a politician, Charlie Kirk has been assassinated, alright? But not only that, but now it's drawing more attention to, that what Esau is trying to paint the narrative here is, he's trying to make the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans look like that they are the main problem of, America's crime rates, all right? And you can hear it through their speech, such as Trump, speaking about it, all right? Not only about Kirk's death, but another recent attack on a woman, all right? She was attacked in a train by a Judite, by a nigga, and she got stabbed, and she died, all right? But what Esau is doing right now is that he's painting you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans as the enemy. All right. The problem here, the problem here for America's crimes. All right. I'm gonna just play this video right here and just pay attention.
I am filled with grief and anger at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk on a college campus in Utah. Charlie inspired millions, and tonight all who knew him and loved him are united in shock and horror. Charlie was a patriot who devoted his life to the cause of open debate and the country that he loved so much, the United States of America. He fought for liberty, democracy, justice, and the American people. He's a martyr for truth and freedom, and there's never been anyone who was so respected by youth. It's long past time for all Americans and the media to confront the fact that violence and murder are the tragic consequence of demonizing those with whom you disagree day after day, year after year, in the most hateful and despicable way possible. For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today, and it must stop right now. My administration will find each and every one of those who contributed to this atrocity and to other political violence, including the organizations that fund it and support it, as well as those who go after our judges, law enforcement officials, and everyone else who brings order to our country. From the attack on my life in Butler, Pennsylvania last year, which killed a husband and father, to the attacks on ICE agents, to the vicious murder of a healthcare executive in the streets of New York, to the shooting of House Majority Leader Steve Scalise and 3 others, radical left political violence has hurt too many innocent people and taken too many lives. An assassin tried to silence him with a bullet, but he failed, because together we will ensure that his voice, his message, and his legacy will live on for countless generations to come. Today, because of this heinous act, Charlie's voice has become bigger and grander than ever before, and it's not even close. May God bless his memory. May God watch over his family, and may God...
Well, nonetheless, this is all over the news, and not only, that they're speaking about his death, but of also recent death of a Ukrainian woman, just like what I just said. She got stabbed by a Jake on a train, all right? And now, what you're seeing happening right now is division, all right? You're seeing Esau is linking with the Democrats with our people as the main cause of violence, all right? And this is what Esau wants, all right? He's trying to stir up more division, right? The elites behind the closed doors are pulling the strings, are orchestrating this chaos by the way of, division, divide and conquer. All right, and that's what you're seeing here right now. Right, you got the left wing, you got the right wing, and now they're about to go at each other's necks. All right, there's a political divide and there's a racial divide. All right, and all this is gonna lead up to Jacob's trouble. All right, Esau's about to use his sword. He's about to declare martial law, and he's about to come down with great wrath. All right. Now, of course, we're seeing that Esau is now divided against himself. But it says here in Matthew chapter 12, verse 26, it says, "And if Satan casts out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand?" And yeah, a nation divided against itself cannot stand. All right. And right now you're seeing Esau is divided against himself. Right, politically, racial. Mainly politically. All right. But all this is going to leap on to Jake too, right? Because Esau, he's definitely coming down with great wrath upon 2/3 of Israel, right? It's like it says, "And Yahweh shall know the thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. And if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand?" And that's right. You're seeing the brewing of the civil war. All right. Esau, is orchestrating this great divide. All right. People are getting stirred up. People are mad right now. People, these Edomites, all right, they're thirsting for blood. Bring out the Apocrypha. Yeah. Sirach chapter 12, verse 16. Says, 16. Says, "An enemy speaketh sweetly in his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit." Alright, that's what Esau is doing today. Alright, it may seem like he's helping you with all these benefits and all this other shit, but really at the end of the day, alright, he's looking to overthrow you. Alright, scriptures also say, a gift destroyed the heart. Alright, here you got simple as Jake, alright, trusting in their enemy, and now they're falling for Esau's traps. Alright, but it says, "But in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood." It says, "If adversity come upon thee, then thou shalt find him there first. And though he pretend to help thee, yet shall he undermine thee." That's right. For an example, right, you have a lot of our people who decide to, vote for Trump. Turn Esau is in his for you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right. He is in his there to be your friend. All right. Esau wants to oppress you. So Just I hope you shared your words in his heart. Yeah, like again, never trust thy enemy. Right? The scriptures tell you about that. Right? Also tells you, woe unto those that trust in Egypt. All right? A lot of our people, they trust in Esau and the system and shit. And now they're learning the hard way that, Esau is really never for you, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Arab Americans. And regulations and policies are meant to oppress you, Jake, even more. All right? Let's say Psalms 55 and 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. And that's right. It may seem like Esau may pretend to look innocent, but at the same time, like again, never trust the enemy. All right? Esau is your enemy. All right? It says the words of, he may seem like he's innocent, but Esau's, trying to overthrow thee. Right? He's trying to overthrow you, Israelites. Verse 22. I think it was, who will pity the charmer? Who will pity a charmer? And they, all you who, trust in thy enemy, all right, you're about to learn the hard way, all right? Because Esau is now about to come down with great wrath. And you can see it, all right? Things are intensifying. You can see, Esau is getting ready. Esau, is eagerly waiting to use his sword against you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Arab Americans, all right? And that is what is bound to happen. And the Lord put the spirit on Esau, to do it, all right? The Lord created spirits for vengeance. All right. The Lord put the spirits on everybody. All right. To do as what the Lord wants to be accomplished. All right. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. He turneth it whatsoever he will. The Lord is in control of everything. All right. Says, oh yeah, here it is. Sirach 12 and 10. Never trust the enemy, for like his iron rust his soul of his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away. You see? Esau ain't your friend. Set him not by thee, lest when he had overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place, neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat, and thou at the last remember my words, and be pricked therewith. Who pitieth the charmer that is bitten with a serpent? And Esau is a serpent, alright? He is good with lying, alright? He's crafty, he's sly, alright? And what, you can't be friends with a serpent, all right? You can't have a pet as a serpent, all right? He's gonna bite the shit out you, all right? And this is Esau right here, right now. Or Esau is that serpent, that dragon. But it says, who will pity a charmer that has been with a serpent? All those, who trust in their enemy, all right? Now they're about to be bitten by the serpent. Or any such as come nigh wild beasts. So one that goeth to a sinner and is defiled with him, and his sins who will pity. For a while he will abide with thee, but if thou begin to fall, he will not tarry. An enemy speaketh sweetly in his lips, but his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. Oh, I just brought that out already. Damn. The fuck? Guess I'm just sleepy then. But, yeah, things are getting wild. Expect more things to happen. Alright, Jacob's Trouble is right around the corner, and yeah, America has been more divided than ever, alright? And the Lord is the one in control, alright? You got, all these other carnal jakes, they're talking about fighting back, especially here in Chicago, about, the National Guard coming through and shit. But, according to the scriptures, alright, those that are in the know, those that have its wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, we know that through the scriptures, alright, the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, alright? So we can't rely on fighting back, alright? The only thing we can do is repent, alright? Turn back to Yahweh Hashem, Yahushai, alright? Gaining this, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Weapons of our warfare. See? Says 2 Corinthians 10:4. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to pulling down of strongholds. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. So we can't be carnal minded in these times that we're coming into, alright? Esau is gonna, escalate things even more against the Jakes. But at the end of the day, alright, we can't rely on, we can't rely on using weapons, alright? We can't rely on, trying to fight Esau, alright? Because Esau's in power right now, alright? And us Israelites, alright, we're not in power, alright? We don't have the blessing that Esau has, alright? Esau's blessing is a sword. You can't fight fire with fire, right? But hey, with this book, alright, this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, alright, this is our weapon, alright, this is our tool, this is our instruction, alright. Following the ways of Yahweh Hashem, Yahushua is the only way to, for you to get delivered, alright? But only the elect are going to be saved in the times that we're coming into. Alright, only the elect are going to be taken care of in the time of Jacob's trouble. But nonetheless, that was just it to that lesson, alright? Hope it was edifying. I want to give all praises, honors, and glories to Yahweh Hashem, Yahushai, and Shalom.